For anyone who saw the title of this video and responded with more than a little incredulity, yes, you have plenty of reason for the skepticism. These nations have a, let's say, less than congenial past. From the Byzantine Ottoman years through to the Great War, the two have not always seen eye to eye. These points of contention have not dissipated in recent years either, with multiple territorial disputes, airspace violations, and an undercurrent of religious conflict. In fact, in just the last 10 years there have been at least 11 incidents and escalations in the Aegean Sea, the body of water separating Greece and Turkey. Nor does this look like ending anytime soon, judging by threats made by politicians and the irredentist blue homeland doctrine presented by the Turkish military, which claims half of the Aegean Sea as belonging to Turkey. However, perhaps surprisingly, despite all this, there has been small movements in both nations to try and put aside their differences and form a Greco-Turkish confederation, coined the Eastern Mediterranean Federation by some, which has been the ostensible aim of focusing on creating a shared culture and national identity. This movement has been termed Hellenoturkism, or Hellenoturkismos in Greece, and Hellenoturkism in Turkey. This map displays the extent of territory if the two countries were to unite, with the addition of the currently divided Greek and Turkish-speaking island of Cyprus, which would likely be involved in such an instance. In today's video, we will cover the history of this political movement, its likelihood of existing, and whether, even in the case it was feasible, it will be a good idea. If you're enjoying this video and would like to see more similar content, then please like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss future videos. The roots of the Helleno-Turkic political idea can be traced to the 15th century, the last vestige of the once enormous Byzantine or Eastern Roman Empire. Constantinople was conquered and annexed by the Ottoman Empire in the year 1453. This brought a large number of ethnic and cultural Greeks under the direct rule of the Ottoman overlords. Whilst many resented this subjugation, there were a few, most notably Greek thinker George of Trebizond, who instead attempted to reconcile differences in culture and religion between the groups. This was largely ignored and unsuccessful at the time, with the native population of Greeks being mistreated and sometimes enslaved over the course of the next 368 years. After the repressed Greek population fought a brutal independence war in 1821 with the help of foreign powers, including the British Empire, they were able to reclaim partial former territories. After a series of wars and battles during the early part of the 20th century, including the First and Second Balkan Wars, the First World War, and the Greco-Turkish War of 1919 to 1922, the borders in the region were redrawn as something very similar to what is currently the status quo and what can be seen on modern maps. Beginning in 1966, the modern movement of Hellenoturkism began, with a Greek writer by the name of Dimitris Kitsikis, to whom many present-day espousers of the doctrine trace their ideas to. Kitsikis promoted the idea of a tri-unification between Greece, Turkey, and the small island of Cyprus to the south, and had significant contact with both the President of Greece and the President of Turkey at the time. The movement was further propelled with the military coup in Greece in 1967, which led to the rise of the military dictatorship of Georgios Papadopoulos, who himself was in fact sympathetic to the idea of Hellenoturkism. However, these potential developments were short-lived as complications arose in 1974, when a failed attempt in Cyprus by nationalist group EOKAB to overthrow the democratic Cypriot government and unite Cyprus with Papadopoulos' Greece, as well as ongoing intercommunal violence between Greek and Turkish Cypriots, gave the Turks questionable justification for an invasion of Cyprus. This invasion led to the subsequent annexation of the northern part of Cyprus, which is still occupied to this day. Turkish attempts to set up a puppet government have been met with little diplomatic recognition, and northern Cyprus has been considered by some as the second largest ongoing occupation anywhere in the world by total land area. Since these events in the 1970s, Apart from a slight resurgence during the Greek financial crisis around 2010, there is negligible support for the unification proposal, with some Greeks seeing it as little more than a potential spurious justification for Turkish expansionist desires in the region. Similarly, within Turkey, few see the idea as being conducive to social unity. However, despite the lack of general public interest and political feuds that continue to run rampant in the region, what if a Helleno-Turkic nation was actually formed? Firstly, it would be the largest and strongest military power in the region, as both Greece and Turkey can boast sizable armies, navies, and air forces, all of which already rank among the world's strongest, so a fusion of these would be formidable. The geopolitical result of a nation stretching from the Balkans to the Middle East and from the Caucasus to near North Africa would also be a force to be reckoned with, as the Helleno-Turkic nation would have a stronghold over a number of crucial strategic points. Similarly, the economic power of a confederation, as so proposed, would be the major player in the region. This Eastern Mediterranean confederation would likely have 4 capitals, with Athens, Ankara, and Nicosia fulfilling their current roles of national capital cities, with Istanbul, which could possibly be renamed Constantinople, being the federation capital where parliament would reside. This would make a lot of sense, as modern-day Istanbul is not only the largest city in Europe, but was also the capital of both the Ottoman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire before that. As the Eastern Mediterranean Confederation can be seen as a fusion of these ancient empires, this appears to be the obvious choice. However, despite the hopes of the small movements which do exist in Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus respectively, the practicalities are, let's say, more than a little questionable. Hostile politicians, religious differences, historical wounds, and contemporary chauvinism all present serious issues, both in the pursuit of this confederation and the day-to-day workings in the event that it could ever be realized. But what do you think? Is this proposal for an Eastern Mediterranean Federation a good idea, or is it merely setting the stage for potential religious and nationalist violence with a brutal and messy breakup, like was seen during the fragmentation and wars in Yugoslavia? Only time will tell, but this is definitely an area to keep tabs on in the upcoming years. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content.